Ngiga. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
So you're one of the prolific and intelligent writers I know. And you've written over 6 books, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about your new book, Cry for Mercy? And can you tell us about it?
Yes. Cry for Mercy, it's a spiritual book of poetry that talk about the human condition in the spiritual realm. And I love to think quite a lot, and I love to write down words from my imagination and from things that have been mystically revealed unto me. And one of the things that leads to a Cry for Mercy is my contemplation as to if the life of a man is actually been influenced by whatsoever he passed through in the spiritual sort of realm. And I'm also trying to ask questions about the nature of human tragedy. You know, the book is more or less like a book of plea and lamentation. And all of this is actually what prompted me to writing A Cry for Mercy.
Also, I noticed that you have over 25 poems, right? Am I right?
23 poems in the book, yeah.
So how long did it take you to write?
Yes, whenever I finish a book, I love to start another one immediately. And the one I had published before A Cry for Mercy was Oxford, Kismet, Impediment, which was published August 2021. And since then, I started putting words together and started working on Escape from the Unseen Dungeon. So it literally that's like a year with now, because the book was actually published 2 months ago. So whenever I had one published, I begin working on another one. Then I start compiling them together, making them in book format, and it doesn't really take, let's just say like 7 or 8 months to put all of it together. All the book is actually done. I just need to give some space in between the first series and the second series and the third for the publication method.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So reading through the author's notes section of section A of Cry for Mercy.
Yeah.
You said, I read of a place where you have some questions. You said, if spiritual bondage is real, if our lives is a reflection of what happens to our spirit being, if a man can be in bondage and not know, how do you come up with those concepts and questions?
Yeah, it's all of this is actually one of the points that I want to communicate and pass on through the book. Because, this topic of spiritual stuff, it's something that I think most people do not really actually like talking about. And the construct of the fact that if a man can actually be in bondage and not know, if, our day-to-day life and activities, it's influence in the sort of spiritual realm, and if the lifestyle of a man, the physical things that happen to human being are being spiritually influenced, all of this is part of my contemplation to know if these things are actually real. And, just like in one of the people that I sent over, Better Read, I think I sent to over 60 people for Better Reading. And I've got a lot of people, some of them, actually, I think like 3 or 4, replied and said, oh, Peter, I'm sorry, I'm an atheist, and I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't believe in spirit. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in all of the things you're talking about. I'm sorry, I can't read your book. And another person said, oh, Peter, I'm sorry, I don't think I'll be able to go on with reading your book because it seems as if you attempt to convert us to Christianity. He said, oh, I'm a long-haired atheist and I don't want anybody to cover. And I was like, all of these things you're saying is not real. All of these things, I don't even have that intention when I was trying to write the book. I'm just trying to, communicate some things that are real to me. And, it's actually something that everybody can, they have different, there's a lot of people that have different perception towards it. It's something that I think that most people don't like talking about. Because, we are human being and we are made of 3 components. We have the body, this is like the flesh, which is exposed to the physical part. And in the body dwells the soul and the spirit. And what most people don't like talking about, the things that are unseen. The spirit resides within, the soul resides. The spirit stays inside the soul, and we are more interested in what we can see with our physical eyes, what we can touch with our physical hand, what we can feel with our physical sense of organ. And when it comes to things of the spirit, things that we cannot see, we cannot hear with our ears, we cannot felt their presence. People don't really like talking about it. What's he talking about? I don't understand what he's talking about. So all of this is what I love to expound, because I felt that this physical life is being influenced by whatsoever happens to a man and the spirit. And that's why I came up with the question that, can a man be bound and not know that he's in his spiritual bondage? And is a lifestyle influenced by what happens to the spirit being. So all of this contemplation is what I seek to give answers to as the book proceeds on. And I think it's something that most people don't really love to talk about, but it's actually real. This is reality. This is spirituality. The word itself is spiritual. So there's no way you can escape from the topic, subject of spirituality. And as much as we are all human beings, we have body, we have soul, we have spirit, we dream, we do this, and we're all spiritual beings, and there's no way anybody believes can make you think that these are not true, these are illusion, these are exaggeration, these are something that these are falsity and stuff like that. So all of this is what I just thought to communicate in the book as I proceed in the series.
So I would like to pick up from what you said.
Yeah.
People actually don't believe in spirits, and they don't actually know that man is a spirit. He has
Absolutely.
and he lives in a body. Right?
Absolutely.
So I reading through your book, I felt as if you're trying to draw the reader to God. Is that your intention?
Well, everybody have a way of interpreting works. There are some write-up that the author wouldn't expect that would come out from readers, and the readers will say, "Oh, this is what it's trying to communicate." And we'll say, "Oh, wow, I don't have that in mind." So what I'm actually trying to do with the book is to just pass message across on the spiritual entity, the spiritual topic of some certain subject. And as such doing, I don't want to make it religious. I don't want to make it something that is only meant for a particular faith or belief. Because, the topic of spirituality itself is something that doesn't pay obeisance to religion. It's something that doesn't really apply to Christianity or applies to Islam or applies to the traditional way or whatsoever other religion we have in the world. And so everybody has the spiritual stuff. Every religion has its own spiritual qualities in it. And I just try to pass message to quite a lot of people, irrespective of their long-haired beliefs and way of life. So I love to put it that way.
So you're trying to make them see that man is a spirit.
Absolutely, irrespective of their long-haired Christian faith, long-haired religion, irrespective of whatsoever they believe in, their color, their race, their ethnicity, or whatsoever. Just trying to pass the message across.
That's nice. So do you just write on spirituality alone? There are other...
Oh no, I have quite a lot of themes I write on, but more particularly, I love to talk about the human condition. I'm a kind of writer that love to talk about the human issue, and I love to talk about the hard issues of life. I just love, like I said, I'm a thinker, so I love to talk about the difficult part of life. Actually, I have quite a lot of other themes that I write about. Like, I'm currently working on a book, Etean in Times of War, which is more or less like a mournful poem to the soul of everyone who had lost their life to wars in Africa, because the book was actually inspired by a book that I read, The Pot Fire on Us from the Sky, which was a story of 3 lost boys from Sudan. And how they migrated, trekked barefoot all the way from Sudan to Ethiopia to Kenya until they eventually arrived in America. And quite a lot of them died on the way, and some other people escaped. Some people were killed by crocodile, by lions. Some of them died of starvation, and that itself inspired me to start writing about the Etean time, because I've actually been wanting to do that. And that's answered the question. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that, to write about the Nigerian situation, write about people that have lost their life to wars across Africa. Talk about the Biafra War, talk about the Congo War, the one in Syria alone, the one in Sudan, and quite a lot of other African countries that have experienced war. So I don't really write more, importantly on spirituality. I have quite a lot of other themes I write about, but I actually love talking about the human condition. That's one of the themes that I'm much more interested in.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I see you are more interested in poetry. Do you plan to explore other parts of writing in the future?
Yes, I have plans to do that, but one thing that comes easily to me is poetry. I have a very easy time writing poetry than sitting down to craft long paragraph and, characters and stuff in terms of novels. Actually, I have a novel that I've been working on since 2019, and I'm still at chapter 9, hilariously. So, the time that it takes me to write poems are actually very easy, simple. They come to me easily. The words come to me to my ear and just hear them and pen them down, compared to the time that it takes me to write a novel. I'm planning on writing a novel, and I'm working on one. I'm also working on a short story, but the way of poetry comes very easy to me, and it's much more, and it's something I do very, very swiftly and easily.
That's
Yeah.
All right, good to have you here. So, what words do you have to someone who is currently writing their first book?
Yes, I would say to everybody out there, you just have to do your stuff. Do it, get yourself together, do the thing, and put your words together, find a publisher, and you just have to do it. Just go ahead and do whatsoever you have and improve yourself, develop your craft, read a lot of books, and make a lot of research and all of that. So that's what I'd love to say to people out there, basically.
Because most people are actually afraid, if I write this book, would anybody read? Would anybody buy?
Yeah.
That? So what advice do you have to that kind of person?
Yeah, I would just say you just have to go ahead and do it. And that's one of the things that I wrestled with while I was publishing A Cry for Mercy. I was looking into the way that how people view this. Because this is something that most people cannot. They'll be like, I don't understand what he's talking about. But I was actually shocked when I get to hear a lot of feedback from people say, wow, the book spoke to me. Wow, the book talked about my life. Wow. It's as if you saw the things I'm passing through and you're writing and say, wow, I'm so interested. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm so excited to hear about that. But one of the things that I wrestled out when I was writing the book was not to make it too spiritual. And because I was trying to hide under philosophy because I love philosophy. I'm a philosophical writer, just like having faith in the dungeon of doom. I love to hide under philosophy and epistemology, philosophy, free will and determinism. But in A Cry for Mercy, I wrestled hard not to make it sound overly spiritual. And I thought within myself that, Peter, you're talking about a spiritual topic, a theme, then there's no way you can hide under philosophy. You have to come out plain. So that's why I just have to come out plain and express what I've got to communicate, not really putting too much effort into what people would think of it. But I'm actually quite excited and impressed with the number of feedback I've been gotten so far. Yeah.
One thing I like about the book is its simplicity and how you are able to relate to whatever anyone is going through at that point in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to everyone.
Yeah, thank you. It's my joy.
Yeah, I'm good to have you here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a pleasure.